welcome to another episode of Don't Judge a Book by the Author. My name is Robin Travis. Today I'm here with a special guest, Jasneth Richards, amazing author, but an amazing person, and a friend, someone I know personally. So I just feel honored, humbled, and grateful to have her share her story, which is a deep one, which I'm proud of her sharing because it comes from a place of such depth. It's about motherhood. It talks about the experiences of experiencing the life as single motherhood, but the strengths of having God on your side whilst facing adversities of being a single mother. So I'm not going to talk too much about it, but I want to introduce to you special friend, special guest, none other than Jasneth Richards, author of The 10 Factor Mum, a guide for single mothers. Jasneth Richards, people. Welcome, my sister. Pleasure to have you.
Thank you.
Honored, humbled. I'm grateful for coming at last minute notice as well. Just thank you for being here.
It's honestly an honour. Thank you for inviting me. I don't take this for granted.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very, very grateful to be a part of what you are creating. And yeah, it's a real privilege and an honour. And I think it's good for people who, might not be authors known, but those who are, which obviously is the concept, so it's phenomenal, and I'm just so honoured, so thank you for inviting me.
No, it's equally as humbling because it's not being known doesn't mean it's not being talented, equally talented.
Or
and
impactful.
That's where the misconcept, I believe, is of a lot of people. They think the more known you are on whatever field it is that you're doing, that you're the most talented in, or you're the most to be heard, and I don't feel that. So I believe this platform, not for the unheard, as though everyone needs a voice, everyone needs a platform to be heard, and I know I have a certain reach, and the reach is going to grow because the Most High is definitely covering on this mission. So I'm grateful for being able to be in a position to allow other people to see people's talents, which otherwise most people try to hide. So thank you for what you're doing, and I'm just going to show people the cover again. I don't know if I got it on camera the first time. I love the cover, by the way.
Thank you.
So do you want to tell people about this book? Before you tell them about this book, what's your inspiration to writing before we get into this book? I don't want to just jump into this. Tell us a bit about, before we get into this book, what's your experience as a young child growing up in North London with reading and writing? Give me your background and your experience to your relationship, maybe your experience of reading and writing growing up. What was that like?
So if I be honest, I did love to read and write. English is one of my most favourite subjects. Not saying that I was the best at it, but there was something about books that would remove me from the reality.
Escapism.
So if many of you may not know, but I grew up in care from the age of 3 to 16. Well, 18, shall I say, because, and then I became a single mum at the age, I became a mum at age 15. Honestly speaking, 13, 14, had a miscarriage and an abortion. So I was living in care, and I was very much I was a rebel. I was searching for love in all different places, and I was just lost. And felt very, very rejected. Reading and journaling really helped me through those seasons.
Okay.
Especially journaling. So just writing thoughts.
Did you have a diary when you was in care?
I actually did.
Okay.
I actually did have a diary. Okay. So that was something that helped. They call it escapism. But definitely that was something, but I'm saying therapeutic. Yeah, it was definitely something that helped me to escape. So,
and I don't think escapism it depends on where you look at. Just to clear that up, escapism for me, the reality of what we live in isn't always pretty. So why not escape from it? Sometimes people say that people are crazy because they couldn't manage with the world. No, because the world was so ugly to them. They couldn't understand why it turned them. They couldn't manage. So escape from the BS that you're surrounded by, or the way some of the things you went through in care, or the reality of having to be in foster care and not feeling that love. And so I just commend you even for writing down your notes and feelings before becoming an author, because to keep a diary is like you kind of was always an author because you're birthing. That's why I see your relationship with writing.
Yeah.
You've been birthing this thing to express the pain, what you see. I don't know how you was writing or what you've been through or how you feel. I don't know if it was even on your feelings, but to be able to journal your experiences means that you almost have the ability to write a book because you can extract something that's happening and put it into writing.
Absolutely.
So it's probably been in you from the get-go.
It has.
Yeah.
I wish I had them now. I would write songs, poetry, things. I don't know where my stuff is right now. But even to date now, I have a big case of just journals. So even now I still journal.
Wicked.
So it's definitely been a part of me. So that was my experience with reading and writing from the jump. Definitely.
So who was the authors you were reading when you was in, say, primary school to secondary school?
I can't really remember primary school, to be honest, but I do remember when I was living in my children's home, there was a book that was suggested to me. I Know Why Caged Birds Cry, by Maya Angelou, or something along those lines. I read A Child Called It. I don't know if you remember that book, but it was about a young boy that got abused from young.
Of course I did.
And a lot of Maya Angelou books, and what is the other lady's name? Iyanla Vanzant. So those type of books were given to me. So I read a lot of those books.
They're about, to be fair, a lot of those books are to do with people who have been through adversity and tragedy. Maya Angelou, the mother of authorship for me. Iyanla Vanzant, I sent her a DM randomly. I don't see anyone as a celebrity. I don't really respect or look up to mankind or humans as above.
Yeah.
But I was just inspired the other day to say, let me send this over, even if she never gets it. But to say you are the mother of a nation in the work you're doing, whether you always get it right or not. The fact that you're using your experiences to try to fix other people's lives and you allow them to get to the core of where the healing begins. So for me, it's like that's very, very powerful to have someone like Iyanla Vanzant in your book selection.
Absolutely.
Maya Angelou, powerhouse. There's no need to. So the people that you're reading as well also allows me to know why there's so much power in your writing, because those are kind of your influences as well, and probably the journey. I'm not going to say too much that you've had growing up. So what else do you want to say about this book before we haven't really even got into it? What do you want to say about this? Sorry, your relationship with books before we get into the book.
Yeah. So probably I think it would be good to speak about how I became to writing that book. So my relationship failed. So I have 5 children. 2 of my children are with one person, and my last 3 are with one. And when I was with my second children's father, because I hate the terminology.
We won't even say it. We want to talk over you, so I spoke over you, so that's it. Yeah, we're not doing
But my children's father, the relationship just didn't work. It wasn't the greatest. We weren't matched together. But you try because you're thinking about your first relationship hasn't really worked out, and then you kind of feel like you want to kind of prove to people that this thing can work. And I realized more so that I was very much like a people pleaser, and I didn't really realize I was just like, oh, what are people going to think?
Yeah.
I'm a single mom, this relationship failed, now I'm in another one, and now this is going to fail.
Judgment of people.
Yeah, so you're trying to hold on, but you can see this relationship is literally a thread, but you're trying to do your best. And also more so for the children. You kind of want that home environment, you want them to have that structure, but sometimes it doesn't always work that way. So I became pregnant, so we had our first son. And then I had my daughter, I was pregnant with my daughter, and then he ended up having a child with somebody else.
Oh, yeah?
And that really broke me to the core. It's okay, it is well. Because it really broke me to the core. But at that time, I didn't really know God the way I do now.
Okay.
So at that time, I was definitely ethnic, was ready to, just do things that
Jasmine Sullivan, I bust your windows out of your
bust
car.
it out of your car with period, just absolutely. So I definitely had some kind of encounters with the young lady, and then I ended up having another child after that. And I just remember the day when I took that pregnancy test, and I heard God so clearly say to me that you will do this by yourself, but you will not be by yourself.
Wow.
I as clear as day. And I remember I called my cousin and I was like, I'm pregnant. And I was like, but I know I'm going to do this by myself. And I think there was something, it was like an epiphany that had happened where it was just like, I'm here, but I'm not really here. And literally a couple months into my pregnancy, he said he was going away and he'll be back next week, and literally did not return till the day I gave birth. Now, some people, I'm telling you that was a godcidence. You know, when they say coincidence, I'm telling you it was a godcidence, because he came on the day, he wasn't coming because of me, he was coming to visit his brother. And I so happened to call his brother to say that I'm going into labour, but this was the plan. And his brother said to me, their dad's here. And literally he came. I saw him as I was coming out, going to the hospital in labour. I saw him coming. It's like almost like we just done an exchange. Ended up unfortunately staying for 7 days because my son had something on his lungs, so we had to stay for a while. So he was in ICU. So he stayed and he looked after the children, and then he looked after them for 7 days. Now, one thing I must say about him, although we went through stuff, one thing I can say, when it comes to my children, he knows how to look after them well. I wouldn't feel no way to leave them for 2 months. Only maybe he might have a certain lifestyle, but generally he's a good father. He will cook, he will clean, he will do whatever. So I felt very cool to have them there with him for 7 days. And then we tried a little bit.
I want to big you up for that as well. I want to big up all mothers who've not worked a relationship out with a guy, who acknowledge the guy's positive side as well. I really think that's commendable. It means you've risen above the bitter stage, which we all need to. We've got to go through that bitter stage first.
Absolutely.
Risen above it to be able to see in hindsight what it
No,
really is.
honestly,
So,
I can't even say that. Yeah, he definitely knows how to look after a house and home.
You mentioned that in this book as well, that you're not. It's not just before anyone gets into this book. It's not a male bashing book from a single mother's perspective. That's something I've even gauged from, and I haven't read the whole book, from just having a few flicks through. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So long and short, anyway, he it just didn't work out. We tried for a couple of months, and then he disappeared for like 2 years, and we never saw him again. Literally. And then from then, that's where I believe I started my journey. And everybody would say to me, but how do you do it with 5 children by yourself?
Sorry, let's just go back.
Let's go back a bit.
I need to make sure I had the last part. Because sometimes things go and it sounded like a mirror to my mum's story. You say he left 2 years after the...
No, so after I had my son, he came down a couple of times, like maybe in his first 3 months. But he was with somebody, he ended up being with somebody else. And then he kind of left and disappeared for 2 years, solid.
Did he come back after that 2 years?
No, we haven't really seen him like that. It's been, like he's, I know he's alive, I know he's well. Okay. But when it comes to the children...
That's why I said it sounded almost, I thought he just disappeared at the face of the planet.
No, he's alive and well. Even to now, my son is with him now.
Okay.
Only for the last few months. Because his behaviour was challenging. So I had to find his father on Instagram and tell him, you need to do it with your son. But generally, he's not been in their life for the past 16 years. He's we know of him. We know that he lives where he lives, but he's just not consistent.
I'm not judging now in my facial reactions, people. I'm just hurt.
Yeah,
as a man who was raised by a single mother, to not seeing I can't even say raised by a single mother because it's not an accurate statement. As a man who's seen a mother broken by, I'm not want to judge any man, not your ex-partner or any other partner, for not being there. But when you said, I thought he disappeared completely. And it struck a chord in me, But yeah, I understand. Just being a single mother is I don't think people understand how hard that is, especially from a male's perspective. And why I say it struck a chord in me because I see it break my mum. To be blunt, just there's no other way of saying it, and the effects it has. But if it wasn't for the impact of my aunt stepping in and my uncle, it would have been such a different life. And people say I had it bad, but the facts is, if my aunt, big up my aunts and my uncle, even though we didn't have the greatest relationship, I wouldn't say it's because of me either, but it's we do have a decent relationship now. They've been there, man. Also, I was saying to Jasmine the other day how much I appreciate my aunts and my uncles' influence in my life, because not that I haven't told them myself, I've told them myself, but I think because of maybe the relationship they had with my brother, it wasn't so smooth with me. If you don't get along with one child, you can't get along with the other, because it looks like favoritism, I suppose, and also sibling issues as well. I feel like outside of that, yeah, they were there to a degree. I'll just leave it there. And without their support, I think before the age of 10, I would have been in care a long time ago. Facts. Facts. There's no two ways about it. So, yeah, I'm thankful for them intervening at the times they needed. So, do you have a support system that
definitely.
you can go to? And that have you had that support system when you're raising your children?
So I will say that, everything wasn't smooth sailing just straight after. I did deal with depression, anxiety, also suicidal thoughts. And I did want to take my life at one point because it was just very overwhelming. Being a single parent is not easy at all. And I think that people don't understand that it's very mind consuming. So, you're thinking about different personalities, different needs, different learning styles, different weaknesses and strengths and all this kind of stuff, while also trying to just be yourself.
Learn yourself and grow yourself.
Exactly.
Find out
So,
who you are.
right. So it wasn't always smooth sailing. However, I do have a phenomenal network around me. Amazing friends. I mean, a couple of them, like Linda. She was one of she's my children's godparent.
Okay.
I had good friends, which is funny because they didn't have children. Yeah. But because of the way in which she grew up, I think she had that maternalness because she was an older sibling, so she would, understand. I think throughout my life, I have been very blessed with amazing people in my life. And my younger cousins, they were babysitters. Sometimes I'd have people stay at my house. They needed somewhere to stay. It worked in my favour because then they could help with the children and things like that. But it still doesn't take away from the fact that there is a desire that you want that family network. Yeah. And sometimes we can so desire the thing that we don't have that we don't realise the things that we do have.
That's deep.
So I'm very, very grateful for my network, and it's grown over the years. And also, to be very fair, let's be honest, my older children were my first network. They are the eldest. They did a lot.
I feel like we undermine that a lot as young parents.
Yeah, they helped a lot.
How much the older siblings actually contribute and understand and have that emotional intelligence to just be there. So salute to all of you.
Yeah, most of the responsibilities fall on them, even if it's to get a nappy, to put the bottle in the microwave, whatever it is, they're helping out a lot and they become adults very quickly. So I couldn't have done it without them, and I'm very, very grateful. I always say to people, I always desired a boy first, but I realised as to why God gave me girls, because I just don't know how I would have done it without them. So very, very grateful. So yes, I do have a good network. And also my dad, as much as I grew up in care, he would always come and visit, even to now. Okay. Every other weekend he comes and brings...
What, from when you was in care all the way through?
From care. I think teenage stages, we kind of distance because, my behaviour wasn't behaviouring the way it needed to behave, you get me? And also growing a daughter and seeing her being a teen parent and things of that nature, I suppose it's hard, and I kind of remove myself. But generally I would say my dad has been a constant in my life. Though I couldn't live with him, he has been a constant in visiting my homes and so forth.
Big up Dad. See, now this title for me, because it says don't judge a book by the author. The 10 Factor Moment Guide for Single Mothers. You said, there was a line when you said there's no male bashing, and I didn't think, even when you said that it's not to bash up males, I didn't think that there would be any male bashing in it, because the title doesn't insinuate that. So like, for example, when I wrote Mama Can't Raise No Man, I'm sure that offended.
You had to get a lot of disclaimers. Even me, I was like, wait, child.
Everybody. But again,
but I get it.
Again, when even that type, but looking at this, I wouldn't have a judgment. I'll be like, cool. And I think even Mama Can't Raise No Man, not to talk about it too much, but quickly, it's written by someone who was raised by a single mother. So if your son wrote Mama Can't Raise No Man, would it be something you take to offense having raised him? Or would it be something, and that's why I always find, even now I find that title so interesting, because the reaction is emotional. We say women are emotional.
Whoa.
It's not thought of from an objective, like, oh, let me think, can a woman raise a man? That's how men think. We think, if we said daddy can't raise a daughter, it wouldn't be like, no, you can't say that. But our first reaction is not naturally emotional, unless we were raised by single mothers, which I know a lot of my emotional traits come from being raised from a single mother.
Yeah.
I see my friends who are more balanced because they've had dads.
Right.
Judge what you like. I don't, and that's why I said I don't judge. You can't judge a book by the author of the titles. If you, how can I say it? Read the book, you'll get more substance from it. And all the reviews on Amazon for Mama Can't Raise No Man were predominantly from women. So it was like, okay, some of them get it because they read it, but there's lots of women never would read that book. And I know some of my friends, mothers of their children, who have the book and they're falling out now and they're in their bookshelf. But it's really for them to read, because sometimes you got to get out of your own way. So when God's saying to you, some of the things you've written in this book, I love some of the quotes you've made about, I got to find it. Basically a woman getting out of her own way. And I want you to quote it for me afterwards, but it goes in line with what I was trying to teach. So it's like you can't say nothing against a single mother that she's not doing something right. Why not? Why do you think you can have it all right? Or is it because you feel like you were forced to be, you're resentful towards the dad? The experience of your single parenting, me being your child, is also my experience. Why can't I write it? Why can't I talk in it?
Well, I always say everybody...
And that's not a question to you, because you gave me that energy, but I'm like, when you look at single, I'm in the same, I'm not there up. But when you judge a book by the author, you miss some valuable gems because you're so busy judging. I am their biggest supporter. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? And if anyone who's read it knows that, because it's like, oh, he's trying to show what men actually go through. So if you didn't know, you could find out, then just like Prison District, then you can apply more to how and investigate more to what that male is trying to say that you're raising, and build better relations. And nothing better than a mother and a son getting along, to be fair. It's a beautiful thing that I can't say I've experienced.
Yeah.
That's the truth.
Well, as you said, we all have our own lived experience. And, I'm sure that my children have their own thoughts about me and how I've raised them and so on and so forth. And all I can do is to to share my viewpoint and hear their viewpoint and kind of keep it moving, but ensure that they feel like they're heard. And even now, I'm challenged with that now. I would say, when I wrote that book, that was in 2018. We're in 2024 now. My parenting style then is completely different, because I've got different children, different characters, different ages, and things like that. And I've had to learn in different ways how to parent my children. Like, this might work for her, but this ain't gonna work for her, because they have different characters and personality types. And if all honesty, parenting for the last few years has been the most difficult for me than when I was in this stage. So I'm having to bring myself to a new level of me. So, Robin, times there I want to pack my bag and leave, because for me, I'm just like, for what the Lord will have me do, it's better I leave this house than I knock you out. It's just generally like you're tested, and especially when your children are nose to nose with you now, and you're thinking to yourself, so wait, are we in the roads? Like, and because I'm from, I would say I've been on the streets. It's just like, what are we doing here? But you have to realize that our children are growing in a different environment, a different world. From when I was growing them up then, it's completely different to who I'm growing up now. I will find my eldest children are complaining about how I'm raising the younger children. But I'm like, we're living in a different generation. Those times, you lot could actually play outside and you lot were good. These times, I'm like, we can't even do that. Or you're giving them a little bit more leeway because you've now got phones that you can contact them or things of that nature. Or I can track your location, I can know where you are. So it's like parenting evolves with the times that you're parenting. And I think that, it's just something that we need to understand. And that's why I say that every parent needs to be self-reflective, and we need to actually understand where we're going wrong, where we can go different, what times we're in, how we can self-evaluate and do things differently, and also be okay to apologize sometimes.
Yeah, that's a fact. Single mother that I know that Labyrinth's mum, I was thinking as you was talking, Labyrinth from around the corner here, big up the artist Labyrinth, Auntie Pam, Nanny Pam to me, powerful woman, she raised 9 children on her own.
Wow.
I think 5 of them were boys. Big up Shiz, big up Naomi, big up all you lot. I'm not going to try and remember everyone's name because there's too much. Big up McNasty, big up Labyrinth, big up Tim, big up everyone. But when I wrote Mama Can't Raise No Man, I was kicking it with Auntie Pam, single mother. I was talking to single mothers, and she said to me, "I can't wait for you to drop that book." I was like, "Why?" She's like, "Because every single one of my boy children have come up to me and said there's something missing." She's a powerful Christian woman as well. She was also talking about what you was talking about, train the seed as you want to go on. But there's many quotes from the Bible which prove that Mama can't raise no man. When God's saying God to be a father to the fatherless, which means the mother can't do it. So any Christian woman who's debating Mama can't raise no man obviously doesn't know the word. It's that mad when you really think about it. I was so confused at the reaction. It just reconfirmed how emotional women could be but the title, of course, it wasn't the best, but if you said it the other way around, we wouldn't have got offended. But you're forced to play a position, and that's where the feeling of rejection came from. Because you said, God told you you're not going to do it alone. So the fact that you have to do it alone is already your back's up. You have to do it alone. I didn't choose to do it alone, or the guy wrong, for whatever your reason be. But the job is, can you raise a man? It's not saying you can't parent a child and dress the child and look after and give them principles and laws, but to be a man, you have to, in essence, learn from a man. It's that simple. This was never a complicated, to be a woman in essence, and it doesn't mean that you can't, like your dad was there for you, but there's certain things your dad could not give you. That's why you got powerhouse of women like Karen Allen around you, without me even asking why she's around you. You got mother figures there. Because you didn't have the mother figure. But if we were to say to your dad, "Daddy can't raise no daughter," he'd be like, "Yeah, give my daughter books on that." That's the difference, the emotional thing. So I'm saying that I don't even want no one to judge this book as males, thinking 2 things. One, this is a book for single mothers. No, that's what this podcast explains. Books are for everyone if you open your mind. Don't look at a title and think, this is probably for them single mothers. No, top 10 factors. Top 10 factor mom, a guide for single mothers. Okay, how can you best understand what a single mother's getting through? By reading this. How can you learn from your own mother's experience, what she went through? Because she's probably never told you as mother and son. By reading this. This is from a male perspective I'm talking about, not even from a female's perspective.
That's so good,
I'm trying to explain to people, don't judge the book by the title. When I say author, just some people do judge the book by the author, because it's a young mother, for example. What does she know? Because she had 5 children. I had my 5 children in the 70s, or 6 children. I said, pick it up. Don't judge the book by your own experiences or things that you think you can't learn from until you pick it up. That's what I wanted to say about this, because I've read a few lines and a few paragraphs. I haven't read the whole book, and just from reading that, I can still say that when I sit down and really mix this up, I'm going to give a proper review. There was a quote you mentioned that I wanted to talk about, like the women getting in their way. Could you remind me of that?
Oh, you're making me want to remember what I wrote in there.
I'll find it.
So I definitely came into writing this book because I was always questioned about how I parented with 5 children. And when I used to say to people the grace of God, they
couldn't
never
understand.
understood what I meant. And I'd be so dumbfounded. I was like, what do you mean you don't? It's the grace of God, isn't it? But I felt like I needed to encapsulate that in a book to make people understand. These are the principles, or these are the factors that I've been given that has helped me to steward the children that I have. And it blows me away. And
so
yes,
God supported you all the way through.
absolutely.
So in hindsight, you're not a single mother.
No.
In the physical form.
In the physical form, yes. But God is my maker. He even shares that He is your husband. He is the father to the fatherless. He is a provider. He is the beginning and the end. And this exactly is what I am sharing in the book. It's just the principles that He's given me. And yes, I agree. Sometimes we do have to get out our own way. Sometimes we are, as women, the reasons as to why a lot of things are the way they are in our lives. And all I can say is that I'm a very self-reflective person, and it has really helped me along my journey. Even if it takes me a little while to get there, I will always get back to a place of self-reflection. And that's why I say it's important to have a good village around you and people that can reason with you and kind of put you in your place in a specific way, because we all need a little bit of a rebuking sometimes.
Facts.
And it can be hard, but that's why you should have trusted people around you that can be accountable. Not going to people that you want to hear what they've got to say or what you want to say, but really give you.
People. Auntie Pam, when I was writing Mama Can't Raise Them, I know you was talking, but Auntie Pam was saying something to me when she was raising her boys, that they got to a certain age, and it was like they were starting to ask questions that she couldn't answer, and just talking back, and had to change the way she parented, because the way that she was raised wasn't all this back talk, and it was a new form. Like you said, parenting gets harder at a certain age. Now my son's 20, yours being 22, so you can see the changes, and you have to adapt your parents' style. You have to respect them now as parents, because we were young parents. Sometimes that can kind of be harder to do. So in your effort of writing this book, do you give tools for parents on how to parent children coming into that age? Do you discuss those?
So I branch on it a little bit about having teenagers and being transparent with them. Our children come to a certain age, and I think that we are allowed to share a little bit more information with them, such as, we might not have that certain money to do a certain thing today because I've got to do whatever. Whereas before, when you're younger, you're just doing it. They don't need to know the struggles, but sometimes you have to bring them in the struggles to actually understand, for them to comprehend, okay, so and so and so forth. Now, what I'm doing, I'm showing them the bills. Like, we're all working now. We might not get as much help as before, so we're going to have to split this bill, or things like that, or really going into transparency about what now I've been through. Look, I was a teen parent. This is not something I would like for you. This is how hard it was, and things like that. So you can kind of bring them into, because the worst thing is, I don't want the world to teach my children or tell my children about me when I could do it myself, or have to unlearn things or reteach them things or so forth. So very, very, I think it's very important that we are transparent with our children within reason, knowing what they can manage, what they can't manage, and things of that nature. So yeah, there are things that my children weren't privy to until they were in their late teens. I'm talking 18, 19, that they're finding out. Do you get what I mean? Like, that's now they're having to deal with. But now you're at an age where you can kind of deal with that, So, that answers the question.
Salutations. Yeah, no, more than answers the question. I'm just overthinking, like, again, not being never being able to talk from a woman's perspective as a single mother, but to be able to empathize. That's what I think it is with me. So I feel it. I've always seen my grandmother rise in power. As my mum, I've always seen her as a mum who did it twice, because she is my grandmother. She raised 5 children first, then came and told me I'm not going to be with social services to continue raising me and my brother. That was short-lived, and then the fact that she's always been there. I thought, how could you raise 5 children and then work in a carer's home in Hackney Downs Park? You always care for people, and then you come and raise 2 children after that. Wow. So, yeah, a lot of what I've seen from my gran, I wouldn't tell anyone how to raise their children, how not to. Everyone's got their own methods and their own reasons behind why their motives, and it will each to their own. Mine's is, as a man maybe, and it's maybe me needed to get out of my own way. How can I say? I feel bad when I can't provide. I feel horrible. I feel like scum. And I know this is something that people say. I've had to work with that for years, being a young father, going to prison as a father, coming trying to change your life as a father. It's like saying, even though people say, you've been there physically, I'm like, yeah, but the support I would have loved to have given early days, even now, would be to be a lot more than what it's been. So it's I wouldn't want them to pay rent. It's because of the way I was. But if I can't afford it, I'll let no, I can't. There's nothing. I'm not a single parent. I'm not talking from your perspective. I'm talking from being a co-parent. It's still, I still feel scummy. I still feel like, nah, there's more to be done. It's a lot of men's problem as well, but it's a thing that you feel that more could be done. And it's hard when you're a young father. My advice to my son is don't become a young parent, not because you shouldn't have children, but because you need to be positioned, and the love needs to be real to bring someone into this world. So find out if that comes at a young age, cool. If it doesn't, then so there's no timing on it. You got to be emotionally and prepared to know that your life now revolves around that child.
Forever.
You're bringing someone into this world.
Okay, child.
Bring someone into this world. But it's a blessing all the same. There's no doom and gloom, man. No, my children, I know I might sound like that the way I just said it, so but my children have changed me. So I can only imagine as a single parent. Like you see, I live here. I see my children. I was with them last night every day, if not every other day, and it's like I don't live with them, but it's still understanding. If I put myself in your position, I've had them for weeks or months, or they're just with me, and I've had to do all the other. I'm like, geez, how does Jasmine do this? I'm like, I'll be honest with you. It's like it's not. I feel like it's not to say it's not a male's gift. So when people look at Mama can't raise no man, there's no disrespect. I think women are legends. I can't do that. This is what I'm saying to you. I don't think a lot of men will say, there'll be more feminine type of men say, yeah, nah, I'm more nurturing type of men. They'll be like, nah, I can do that. Yeah. Cool. I'm a man's man, innit? I'm an alpha man. I can't, but not like that. That's alpha males. So I look at that and I'm like, salutations. So yeah, man, I'm proud of you as a parent. Continue to, what's it called? I want to say raise, but you raising's consistent. So you'll always do that. Continue to rise those great individuals that you brought here. Continue to put God first on your mission, because I feel like God's not only carried you, He's propelling you. So it's like a slingshot. You haven't even gone fully back before you start propelling. This is just like the introduction. So with that being said, would you like to tell the people what you have coming next after this?
Yeah, so I've got another book coming that should be out in July, hopefully.
It's July.
And it's called So You Think You're Ready to Court.
So we've got to get you back here, like, nah, that's crazy.
I know, it's crazy because obviously that book is about 6 years old now, but it's so...
Nah, but this is, those 6 years old people, this is something that you need to get straight away, because if
absolutely. It's on Amazon, shameless plug.
No, we're going to definitely let people know where this is on Amazon and all the local bookshops as well, and your WhatsApps. Your Instagram.
Yeah, you can
get back to that.
Definitely.
So the next book is, have more about this next book.
Yeah, so it's called So You Think You're Ready to Court, and it's just about, they would call it dating, so in the Christian community we call it courting, and just dealing with the lessons that I've learned. So what I've found with my writing is they're about my lessons and the principles that I've found along the way. So I just talk about what I've learned about myself while I was dating someone for 4 years in the Christian kingdom, and things that I thought were maybe...
Why don't judge a book by the author. You're a Christian, I don't want can a Muslim person pick up this book and enjoy this book? Can a Rastafari?
Absolutely.
Cool.
It's for everybody.
Cool.
Absolutely. Anybody that is dating somebody or is with the male species, a man or a woman, you can read this book.
And get something from.
It's absolutely non-negotiable. And I just, yeah, you can. I love it. I love what I've written. Even just reading it back, I'm just like, wow, like I learned a lot. So really excited about that.
I skipped a question which is very important. I don't know how I skipped it. The reviews. What's your favourite review or feedback you've got from the 10 Factor Mum?
Okay, the most favourite review. Probably.
And it doesn't have to be a review. Feedback could just be something someone said to you.
Yeah, just how impactful it's been when they've read the book. Just how much it has made them think differently, or just change their perspective, or given them tools to help manage their children. I think that stands out very greatly for me. But also, people always can't. Just writing a book. In general, most of the reviews is just like, well done, you've actually written a book, and it inspires others who want to write books.
You've written a book as a mother of 5, that needs to be highlighted.
And I did that when I was doing my degree as well.
Again, that needs to be highlighted. That you did it as a mother of 5, and I know you said the children help support, but it's still not easy. It's so much on your mind to write. You need to have a clear mental space to get creative. So again, salute. There's so much reason to salute. See, my thing is, and I've always said this and I'll say this publicly, I love the idea of supporting single mothers, and I said it, mother can't raise no man who were forced to be. I'm just not about promoting single motherhood as a way forward. That's what a lot of people are trying to do. I don't need a man. And my thing is I know you're not saying, look,
but I need
this conversation isn't coming from you.
Yeah.
This is from people with a mindset who don't understand the importance that one hand can't clap, but it can clap that. That's louder. It's on there. I can't even, no matter how hard or aggressive I try to get as an individual, and I know that as a man. I know that it's like Fabulous tune. I'm a movement by myself, but I'm a force when we're together.
Yeah,
I have no argument against that. Of course I can move when I'm by myself. I can be a single man. I don't need nobody in this world. I don't. God made it that I do need. That's why He took something from my rib and gave me something that is valuable as an equal, not behind, not in front, as an equal. And it's the imbalance for me, and I know like everyone's got their own sexual orientations, but for me, a man and a woman's yin and yang, it complements.
Absolutely.
And you can learn so much as a male from a woman. So was any of those reviews from any men as well?
Oh, that's an interesting one. I think my brothers and people in my life have supported me and been encouraged. A couple of males have actually read my book and have said that they're very proud of me, and that just how much I've grown, and just to see how much I've learned and things of that nature. So definitely, I have had.
There are males who have said to you they've taken from a different perspective. So I remember, by not judging the book by the author, I just want to, before we ran out, get people to men who maybe, because I interviewed Janine Russell about naked truth about having a baby, and the naked truth about marriage, and I'm like, most men will want to read this. Here are the titles. So can you let them know that it's appealing to them as well? Is there any men who have come back to you and said, yeah, I've read this and got back this? And
not as far as I can remember, but what I will say is that single fathers can read that too. Okay. Fathers can read that too, and equipping and educational for men. So
single fathers, this book is definitely important for single fathers to pick up and have a dwell through, and they can relate to their own.
Absolutely.
Cool. Is there anything else you want to say about this book or the next book? Where can your release date, before we say where can we find you, where's the release date for your next book?
Well, God willing, July.
Is there a book launch for this that we can hope to attend? To meet you in person, can we shake your hand? Can we get signed copies? Is it
I'm so finished.
Is there an online thing? Is there any form of launch?
Just follow me on She Is Jasneth, and you'll be able to see everything. She Is Jasneth.
She Is Jasneth. Cool.
On Instagram, so you can find me there, and anything that I'm doing, you will be definitely posted there.
Cool. Well, I'll keep people updated so they can find your book, and once you know more about deals, I'll highlight that as well. yeah, I don't know what to say really. It's weird because our circles is kind of small in terms of people we know. I want to big up Karen Allen, who's coming in this season as well. I didn't know you two were so interconnected, and that's how God works. She will be probably, I think, the next person I interview, if off the top of my head. But the funny thing is, I thought I was interviewing you the day when I thought I was interviewing her. So when I said to you, I switched the date. I didn't say who it was with, and I was like, I swear I put that date for that day.
Oh wow.
And I swear I put that, and then I looked and I said, no, that's Karen Allen date. And then I looked and I said, oh, that's Jasneth. I never thought Jasneth and Karen knew each other. So when I come here and I've looked at parts of the book, okay, ordained. Some things are
absolutely
aligned, where things are meant to happen. So even, I don't know why I'm so, what's the word, moved to even do a podcast when I'm not really bothered most of the time. Everything's like, okay, it's bigger than you, get out your own way, forget how you feel about promoting, and everyone knows what the street, the life I grew up, so, but get out your own way. God's giving you a voice to write, He's giving you a voice to have a platform, He's giving you a voice to understand, and now He's giving you a platform to give other people's voice leverage, which needs to be heard while you're still rewriting your voice. And then they're going to go back and rewrite their voice, because it's weird. One hand can't clap, but also to make noise, you got to stamp your feet. And if you want to move like an army and make that noise like them Zulus as well, you could hear them miles of everyone stamping. The British Army could hear them, and they were terrified by the stamp. I feel like I don't want to be seen as the moving fire. I don't want to be seen. That's why people say, why does he move like this? He moves funny. I'm an introvert. I'm not a cameraman. This is all stuff for the people. This is Moses listening to Aaron. I don't want to do this. I don't care about setting the people free. I'm doing it because you've asked me to do my purpose. But if you ask me, I'd rather just go and kick it back and be away from these people. I don't want to partner with them. But it's taken me years to say, all right, cool. Let me accept the calling. Let me accept that there's a reason why it's me. Let me face all the hatred or the confusion that comes with it, or the jealousy, or the not wanting to give someone their flowers, all this that comes with it, all this pretending that he didn't live more of a street life than us because I wasn't a rapper. Like, there's so much things that happen in the Bible that happen. So I'm like, you know what, roll with it though. I've got the same Joseph story right now. My own brothers are from, so and when they've come back to me, when I die in time, when something was happening, I was still there for them because I turned to God through my Bible understanding. So a lot of what I stand for and do, I wouldn't call myself a Christian because I don't like where that comes from. But what I will say is Bible driven. It's God inspired. The first book I ever read was Rick Warren, The Purpose Driven Life.
Oh yes,
so
I know that book.
I read that parts of it in prison. I didn't read the book. I flipped through, proofread in the dark, no lights. So I had to it's almost like doing bro with no thing. So yeah, I got something from that book. The first chapter, and I was shipped out. But I remember thinking, oh, God, you're still watching me, yeah? But you're telling me there's a purpose in my life. Let me not wild out in this place and kill nobody out of self-defense and try to hear your voice. Even though I'm in here at this young, dumb age in Jamaica, let me try to hear your voice over the evil that's surrounding me. And that's where I have to give thanks to being the person I am, the author I am. I'm not giving credit to myself. That's why I move I don't want to be having the praise by myself. You're not going to make me the Malcolm X. You're not going to make me the figure. We all got voices, and one hand can't clap. And to be effective as authors, why are we competing in a game where it should be a team sport? It's that's not. So I'm a boxer. I understand to go against someone and compete. I know what it's like to be an athlete and run 100-meter sprints. I know what it's like to be. But since I've come into this game, I've seen and the youth work game. The 2 games where I least expected competition since God's called me on my purpose. Youth worker, author. I scared the hell out of people. I thought it was the same thing. And I've been affected because of that, but because I'll share this because of your belief, because of the calling is what I follow. And that's why I keep pursuing and keep following. I'm hearing that voice that you heard when God said you will not raise this child you with a father that you won't be alone. I'm now, and you said you heard that clearly, that I now hear God's voice clearer to me. I keep moving, be patient, don't get angry with anything going on around you. Things are not perfect the way you want them to be, but I'm providing. You're on a mission. Don't worry about what he thinks, she thinks. So they say you're on a mission. Don't worry about what the police are trying to do to you in the background. You're going to be tested. So on my short time I'm sure I'm going to be on this earth for. I want to make sure that people know about the Jasneths and not just the clout chasers who jumped on the bandwagon of what I was doing because they thought it was cool. There's other people to be listening to who deserve a platform, who are equally, if not more talented than myself, and I'm not competitive, especially as the 2% of this country. So, big you up, sis.
This is the first black bookshop, bro.
Yeah. And my thing is like, if I would have loved to seen the conversation on that table in my granddad's kitchen with you in it, because his mind would have been blown by your experiences, but I think you would have understood where he was coming from
hearing his,
and like being able to join some dots together.
If you don't know where you're coming from, you don't know where you're going.
Exactly. And his thing was, he's big on education, including himself. So it would have been education for him as to what we as young black men are going through, or young black boys are going through